She was just a flight attendant, until the smoke alarm screamed, the slide roared, and two Navy SEAL instructors stepped back and saluted. The flight that wasn't supposed to matter. It was a late-night run to San Diego, the kind of flight where the cabin hums like a quiet lullaby. Passengers dozed. A mother bounced a fussy baby. Two men in row 12, broad-shouldered, quiet eyes, barely spoke, just watched. In the galley, Maya Reyes checked latches, counted life vests with a finger tap, and smiled like she always did. She was only a flight attendant, people said. Just a uniform and a cot. But Maya knew something most didn't. Every safety demo was a promise, and every promise mattered when things went wrong. She touched the bracelet her niece made her, tiny blue beads, and took a slow breath. 3 words she always repeated to herself: breathe, brief, act. The captain's voice crackled over the intercom, light and familiar. Smooth ride tonight. People settled in. Maya walked the aisle, memorizing faces. Exit rows, a college kid, a grandma with steel gray hair, a teacher reading. Those 2 silent men with eyes like anchors. She didn't know their names. She knew her job. She started at the front and worked back, fingertips brushing seat tops, eyes taking snapshots she could summon in a heartbeat if she had to. The mother with the baby gave her a tired half smile. Ears, the woman whispered, patting the infant's tiny headphones. Maya crouched, her voice low and warm. If he fusses on descent, try a little bottle right when I say. He'll swallow, and the ears will follow. The woman exhaled like someone had cracked a window. Row 8 was the nervous flyer, a man in a suit with knuckles the color of paper. She paused just long enough to anchor him. I'm Maya. We've got clear skies and a good crew. If you like, copy my breathing. In for 4, out for 4. He nodded, shoulders dropping a fraction. A teen traveling alone stared at the window like it might answer a question no one else could. Maya slipped her a cup of water and a conspiratorial grin. You okay? First solo. The girl laughed a little. I'll check on you after takeoff. You're doing great. In the forward galley, Carla, her partner tonight, was a metronome of efficiency, labeling the carts and timing the service to the minute. She shot Maya a wink. You take the left aisle. I'll take the right? Deal. Maya nodded, tapping her bracelet. 1, 2, 3 beats, to settle her breath. Breathe, brief, act. Brief, she did next. At each exit row she paused and spoke in a voice meant to be borrowed later. You're my helpers tonight. If I give the word, you open, you stand, you guide, and you don't stop until I stop you. Deal. The college kid straightened, pride flickering across his face like a match struck in the dark. The grandma patted the safety card and said, I've been waiting my whole life to be useful. Maya grinned. You already are. The 2 men in row 12 tracked her with a steadiness that made her curious. They didn't fidget, didn't fill silence with chatter. They measured. She offered the same briefing she gave everyone else. No more, no less. Their nods were small but decisive. From the cockpit came the soft chime that signaled pushback. Seat belts clicked. The plane shuddered, then rolled, the runway lights sweeping by in neat, white rows like beads on a string. This was the part Maya loved, the quiet press of acceleration and the way strangers became a small community joined by wings. She thought of her mentor, Anna, who had stood with her in an empty plane years ago and said, we don't serve coffee. We serve safety. Everything else is hospitality. Back then, Maya thought it sounded dramatic. Now, it felt like the most practical sentence she knew. She checked the overhead bins with the flat of her palm, making sure latches were fully engaged, bags pulled in, straps tucked. She counted again, oxygen masks, demo kits, spare batteries, even though she'd counted twice already. The rhythm soothed her. Outside, the desert night stretched smooth and star-pinned. Inside, the cabin grew softer, voices dimming, screens glowing like small, private moons. When the captain's intercom purred, smooth ride tonight, she watched relief ripple through shoulders. Promises mattered, and so did tone. She made one more slow pass, memorizing not faces but details. The scuff on the teacher's briefcase, the woven bracelet on the teen's wrist, the way the 2 men in row 12 sat with their feet flat and their hands quiet. She couldn't have said why, but she knew they were the kind of passengers who listened when it counted. At the aft jump seat, she buckled in for takeoff, the webbing snug across her hips, the click of the buckle as certain as a period at the end of a sentence. She closed her eyes for a breath, touched the cool beads on her wrist, and let the mantra settle her like a hand on the shoulder. The runway rushed beneath them, engines rising in a smooth, confident roar. And somewhere between the ground and the sky, Maya felt that familiar click inside, responsibility sliding fully into place. To Maya, every seat was a story that deserved to land. Maya didn't dream of airplanes. She dreamed of people, of being the calm place when someone's fear stood up and shouted. Years ago, her mentor, Anna, had told her, "We don't serve coffee. We serve safety." It sounded dramatic the first time, like a slogan that belonged on a poster. But the more flights Maya worked, the more that line settled into her bones. Safety came first. Coffee was a handshake. Before every pushback, she built a mental map of the cabin the way a lifeguard maps a busy pool. She didn't just count passengers, she studied them. A nervous flyer could become a helper with the right words. A helper could freeze without the right briefing. Maya liked to change those odds. Her routine was simple but steady. She picked 4 helpers near the exits, people who stood tall in their seats, who listened when spoken to, who looked like they could project a voice if needed. She knelt or leaned in close, keeping her tone private and confident. If I need you, open, guide, and don't stop. I'll be there. She always added the same small nod at the end, the kind that says, I believe you can do this. The nod mattered. She clocked the nervous ones too. The man tapping his legs like a drumline nobody asked for, the woman gripping the armrest in a white-knuckle prayer, the teen traveling alone trying to look older than she felt. Maya gave each of them her best resource, attention you can feel. She'd kneel in the aisle so her eyes were level with theirs, give a quick breathing pattern or a tiny job to do, count the rows to the nearest exit, hold a cup for the kid across the aisle, watch for the seatbelt sign. When people had a task, fear had less to hold on to. She also knew her tools. The halon extinguisher wasn't just a can, it was a plan. Pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. The smoke hood turned a confusing, dark world into a clear tunnel she could move through. She knew where the doors armed and disarmed, how the slides inflated and what to do if they didn't. She could pop the overwing exits in her sleep and use the crash axe if something jammed. AED, first aid kits, oxygen bottles, flashlights, megaphone. Nothing glamorous, but everything mattered when seconds counted. Muscle memory didn't ask permission from fear, it just acted. On calm flights, that training showed up in her voice. If the cabin got bumpy, Maya lowered her shoulders, squared her feet, and spoke in a tone that didn't compete with fear, it outran it. We're expecting a few light bumps. Keep your belts fastened. This is routine. The words were simple. The steadiness was the point. Her PA voice had a switch, too, warm when welcoming, precise when instructing, unmistakable when commanding. Anna had taught her the trick. Pick 3 voices, she'd said, tapping a checklist. Welcome, explain, command. Practice at home. Your walls won't mind. So Maya did. Her apartment plants had heard more safety demos than some frequent flyers. It wasn't about sounding perfect, it was about sounding certain. She had rituals. Before every demo, she smoothed the safety card with her palm like a teacher steadying a page. She glanced at the emergency lighting strip along the floor, then looked up at the ceiling panels that would glow if the cabin filled with smoke. She tugged open a galley latch with the same pressure she would need in a panic. She tapped her bracelet, 3 blue beads for 3 words, breathe, brief, act. People often mistook her smile for small talk. It wasn't. It was a pressure valve. A smile could loosen a cabin just enough for instructions to fit. When a baby cried in a pressurized cabin, she didn't roll her eyes. She rolled out solutions, bottle on descent, pacifier for the pressure, a cool cloth for heat. When a man snapped at her because his outlet didn't work, she didn't snap back. Let's fix what we can, she'd say, offering a portable charger she kept tucked away for small emergencies that didn't make the manual. Outside the windows tonight, the desert turned to night velvet, black and soft, sprinkled with lazy constellations. Inside, the cabin settled into a chorus of soft breaths and screen glow. The lights were low, our lamps dotted like runway markers. Maya tightened the coffee pot, flicked off a stray light in the galley, and leaned her hip against the counter, listening to the hum that meant everything was okay. Carla, efficient as ever, lined up cups like little white soldiers. "You on decaf duty, Reyes," she joked. "I'm not responsible for 2 a.m. regrets." Maya grinned. "Copy that. I'm in the business of good landings, not bad decisions." She took one last lap before service. The nervous man had stopped tapping. The teen had pulled a hoodie over her head and was texting furiously with thumbs that said she was braver than she felt. The two men in row 12 sat like statues, steady, observing, the kind of quiet that had weight in it. Not a threat, just presence. She filed it away. Back in the galley, she reset the mental checklist she carried like a pocket knife. Exits, briefed. Helpers, primed. Tools, in place. Crew, synced. Passengers, seen. She took a breath, slow and even, letting the air go all the way down and back up again. Routine felt like safety. Until it didn't. The first sign was a smell, sharp and chemical, like burning plastic. The galley smoke detector chirped once, then again, then screamed. Maya snapped into motion. "Galley power. Off," she called to her partner, Carla, who hit the master switch without looking up. The hum in the cabinets died. A thin thread of smoke curled from behind the coffee maker, lazy at first, then insistent. Halon in hand, Maya yanked the pin, aimed low, squeezed, and swept. The extinguisher hissed like a coiled snake, vapor pouring into the compartment. The smoke thinned, then thinned more. Overhead, the cabin bell chimed. The seatbelt sign blinked on. A ripple of whispers ran through the rows, the kind that rise when people smell danger before they understand it. She pressed the interphone, breath steady. "Captain, aft galley smoke, Halon deployed, smoke decreasing." Calm voice. Exact words. The way she trained. The plane jolted, like a giant hand had smacked its belly. Turbulence. A plastic cup skidded across the galley, coffee splashing the floor. Someone yelped 3 rows back. Maya widened her stance, boots shoulder width, one hand on a latch to anchor her. "Everyone, stay seated, belts fastened. We okay?" Not loud, not panicked. Firm, like a light in bad weather. Carla slid a smoke hood out of its pouch and set it within reach, eyes locked with Maya's for a half-second check-in. "You good?" "I'm good." She pulled the galley cots into their cradles and threw extra latches, just in case. Maya checked the heat with the back of her hand. Cooling. Good. She cracked the porthole in the service door, a finger width of window to the wing. No flame. No glow. Just the night, black and indifferent. Back on the phone. Smoke subsiding. The captain's reply was smooth but tight. "We're diverting. Short final in 10. 10 minutes to make a cabin ready for anything." Time has a way of stretching and snapping in moments like that. Maya felt both. She thumbed the interphone to the crew channel. "Carla, we're going to prep for a quick landing. I'll take cabin. Keep eyes on galley and be ready to block." "Copy," Carla said, already knotting her hair tighter, already different. Maya stepped into the aisle and the cabin changed around her. People look for the steadiest person in the room and decide how scared to be. She made her body the answer. "Folks, you may smell a little smoke from an electrical component we've already disabled," she said over the PA, voice even. "We're diverting and landing shortly. Please stay seated with seat belts fastened, tray tables up, and bags all the way under the seat. I'll come row by row." She moved like water around obstacles, knee to seat, hand to shoulder when needed. She clicked a belt for a man whose fingers fumbled. She lifted a backpack with 2 fingers and slid it under, a small motion that told everyone, this is normal work. She checked that seat backs were upright, that our armrests were down, that blankets weren't draped where they'd snag feet. At the little boy with the stuffed shark, she knelt. "Hey, buddy, we're going to do a special landing." She put her hand where he could see it. "Match me? In 2, out 2. They breathed together, the boy's small chest falling in time with hers. His mother mouthed thank you, tears shining but held back. She reached the exit rows and let the world narrow to the people who would set the tone if things went sideways. "You're my helpers," she said, eyes steady on each pair. "Open when I say. Stand in the door. Big voices, leave everything, come this way. Don't stop until I stop you. The college kid swallowed and nodded like a promise. The grandma patted her cane. I can still holler, she said. I'll show you loud, Maya smiled. The two quiet men in row 12 watched not just her face but her hands, the way she pointed, the pace she kept, the order she chose. Their attention had weight. She gave them the same briefing as the others, no special treatment, no extra words. They nodded once, like men ticking boxes they already knew by heart. A bump shivered through the cabin. Maya turned, scanning for the telltale signs of a ripple about to become a wave. Someone standing, someone arguing, someone filming instead of listening. A teenager halfway up reached toward the overhead. Maya slid in, gentle but immovable. We're landing now. Bags can wait. You matter more. The girl's chin wobbled, then steadied. Okay. Back at the galley, the air tasted cleaner, but she didn't trust it. Electrical smoke could play possum. The halon canister still felt cool in her palm. The hood sat ready, elastic seals flared like a waiting flower. Status, she asked. Holding, Carla said, eyes on the panel. No new smoke. The captain chimed in again. Flight attendants, prepare for landing. Maya felt the cabin exhale and inhale all at once. She gave one more PA, clear, short, precise. Shoes on. Seat belts tight. If I give the word brace, you'll tuck like this. She demonstrated, showing forearms to seat back, head down, simple and copyable. Parents, secure children on your laps. Everyone, review your safety card now so your hands know what to do. She did her last pass, fast and soft, pulling a scarf out of an aisle, tucking a laptop under a seat with a firm shake of her head, replacing someone's earbuds with a smile and a point to her own ears. The cabin transformed into rows of people ready to be led. At row 12, she paused. The first man's eyes met hers, calm, measuring, respectful. He gave the slightest nod, the kind that says, we're with you. She nodded back, the kind that says, I know. Then Maya turned toward the front, feeling the engine spool back, the lights of a city rising to meet them, and the seconds lining up like dominoes waiting for her voice. The descent felt fast. The lights looked too bright. Somewhere in the back, a man stood for his backpack, panic reflex. Maya moved like a blade. Sit. Now. No please. No maybe. Just a command that protected him. Brace, brace, heads down, she called, voice cracking like a whip. The cabin folded into itself, foreheads to seats, arms braced. The runway rushed up, a silver ribbon. The plane hit hard. Tires screamed. Something thumped in the overhead. For a breathless beat, it was nothing but sound. Then, silence, heavy and stunned. A puff of smoke drifted from the galley again, thin but real. The captain's order cut the air. Evacuate. Evacuate. Training took the wheel. Maya's eyes went to the window. Outside safe. No flames, no debris. Slide area clear. She popped the door. The slide blossomed with a roar, a yellow river unfurling. In a breath, she became a lighthouse. Seatbelts off. Leave everything. Come this way. Jump and slide. Keep moving. A woman clutched her laptop to her chest like a life raft. Maya stepped into her path, arm out like a guardrail. No bags, she said, tone granite. You'll get another. You won't get another you. The laptop fell to the seat with a soft thud. The woman went. Passengers flowed. The college kid snapped the overwing exit lever and shoved, clean and strong. Go, 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 he yelled, just like she told him, voice breaking and then finding itself. A man hesitated, eyes wide. Leg out, step onto the wing. Now, the kid barked, and the man moved. The grandma in 14C stood trembling, cane wobbling. I've got you, Maya said, locking eyes, one hand on the rail, the other on the woman's elbow. One step. Good. Now sit, feet forward. Jump. The grandma slid, skirts flying, and landed laughing and crying at once. Carla's voice cut through from the front like a metronome. Release seatbelts. Leave bags. Come this way. 2 doors, 2 slides, 2 lighthouses. The plane filled with motion, bodies funneling toward light. the heavy suck of the slide inflating again as more weight hit it. The air was sharp with the tang of halon, hot with adrenaline. At the bottom of the slide, two men took over, feet planted wide, hands out, pulling people to their feet and moving them away from the aircraft in tight, purposeful lines. The quiet ones from row 12, working like a practice team. They didn't tell people how scared to be. They showed them where to go. 30 feet back. Keep together. Eyes on me, one said, voice low and undeniable. Maya ran her checklist in her head like beads on a string. Infants, mobility, all clear, lavatories empty, galley secure. Infant, she called, and a young mother appeared, baby strapped to her with a scarf. Hold tight, cross arms, Maya said. Big scoot. Now. The mother went. The scarf held. The baby wailed. Alive. Strong. In the smoke haze, a young man froze at his seat, fingers scraping uselessly at his belt. It won't. I've got you, Maya said, kneeling, clicking it free with a practice twist. You're okay. With me. She stood between him and fear like a wall and didn't move until he did. A tall passenger blocked the aisle, reaching up for the bin. Stop, Maya snapped, stepping into his space. She threw both arms wide, body a human X, leave it. He blinked, startled, then dropped his hands and moved. A service dog whined under a seat, eyes bright. Buddy, Maya called, whistling twice. He crawled out, vest catching. She freed it with a tug, clipped the leash to her wrist, and guided him to the door. Good boy. Jump. He launched, legs windmilling, landing in a tangle of paws before shaking himself and trotting to the men in row 12 like they'd practiced together. The cabin thinned. Seats emptied in waves. Maya scanned fast, top to bottom, side to side. No heads ducking behind seat backs, no hands reaching for overheads, no small shoes under seats. She checked the lavatory, unlocked, empty. She yanked the galley curtain aside, nothing but rattled carts and the stink of singed plastic. Forward clay. Carla shouted. Cabin clear. Maya called back, already doing the last look the way Anna had drilled into her, not just seeing, but seeing. Overhead shut. Belts hanging loose. No voices. No movement. She tugged the red manual inflation handle on the door one more time, just to be sure the slide was full and hot with air. It was. She grabbed the service dog's leash, took one last look at the impossible quiet of an airplane without passengers, and slid. The world exploded into noise. Sirens pulsing, engine heat ghosting the tarmac, voices layered over voices. The air outside was cool against her face. She landed, rolled, came up on her feet with the dog steady at her side. Move away from the aircraft, she shouted, her command voice still on. She pointed, and the two men echoed her, guiding the growing group into a tight semicircle well clear of the wing. Across the slide, Carla dropped onto the tarmac and counted in tens, chin jerking as each group responded. Maya's hands shook only after she finished counting. 1 line, 2 lines, 3. Faces she'd memorized, nervous man, teen with the hoodie, teacher with the scuffed briefcase, all there. The college kid's palms were scraped, the grandma's hair was wild. The mother kissed the baby's head like a prayer. The dog leaned into Maya's leg, anchoring them both. She looked back at the aircraft, smoke of memory now, lights strobing in a way that made the night feel unreal. The captain jogged past, eyes searching, mouth moving into a relieved smile when he saw his crew standing, his passengers gathered, his world intact. 3 minutes of forever had passed. And because of training, because of voice, because of choices made in the space between fear and action, everyone was here to tell it. On the tarmac, red and blue lights pulsed. People cried and laughed at the same time, the sound people make when adrenaline lets go. A fire crew rolled hoses that, thankfully, they didn't have to use. The captain jogged over, eyes wet. Textbook, he said, voice hoarse. Textbook. He squeezed Maya's shoulder the way a father might, then turned to count again, because that's what captains do when it's not over until the numbers match. Paramedics fanned out with clipboards and pulse oximeters. Any smoke exposure? Any dizziness? They asked, moving soft and quick. Carla stood in front, calling out groups like a school teacher at dismissal. Rows 1 to 10, hold there. Keep the line together. Maya floated to the edges, catching eyes, steadier now that everyone was off the jet. She counted, one more time for luck, and the number came back whole. The two men from row 12 stepped through the swirl. Up close, they looked like mountains, weathered, steady. One extended a hand. She took it, her palms still buzzing. "We watched you run that cabin like a team room," he said. "Clarity under chaos. That's rare." Maya blinked. I'm just a flight attendant." The other man's smile was small and sure. "We're Navy SEAL instructors," he said. "We teach calm like yours. Tonight, you taught us." He pointed gently toward the aircraft. "You kept your world small. You used few words and the right ones. You owned your space. People borrow that kind of certainty." She shook her head, almost embarrassed. "I just did the checklist." "That's leadership," the first man said. "Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. You slowed the panic so everyone could move fast the right way." He nodded toward her wrist. "Breathe, brief, act. That's a better mantra than most teams we see." Then they did something she'd never seen civilians do for her. They took a step back, squared their shoulders, and gave her a crisp salute. Time bent. The sirens, the crowd, the smoke, they all fell away. There was only the salute, and the truth inside it. Titles don't make leaders. Choices do. Carla's breath hitched beside her. The captain looked over and stood a little taller, like he'd just watched something important, something that would matter later. A paramedic knelt in front of Maya. "Mind if I check your pulse?" She held out her wrist. "Little fast," he said with a kind smile. "You're allowed to shake now." She laughed, breathless. The service dog pressed his head against her knee, eyes up, an anchor with paws. Grandma from 14C shuffled over, hair wild as a storm cloud. "Told you I could holler," she said, proud and teary. Maya grinned. "You were perfect." The college kid held up scraped palms like a trophy. "I did the door," he said. "Like you said." She wrapped his hands in gauze the paramedic offered. "You did it right. You did it loud. That matters." The mother with the baby swayed close, whispering 1,000 thank yous into one breath. The baby reached for Maya's finger and held on like hope. The teen with the hoodie lifted her phone. "I texted my mom we had an emergency, but I'm okay," she said, voice shaking. She sent like 50 hearts. "Good," Maya said. "Send her one more for me." An airline ops agent arrived with a bus and a clipboard, distributing blankets and water, nudging the group toward warmth and quiet. The firefighters gave a thumbs up. The slide hung deflated now, a tired tongue against the fuselage. The night smelled like jet fuel and victory. There was paperwork, of course. There always is after a story like this. The captain jotted times. The first officer double-checked them. Alarm at 0217. Halon deployed. Diversion requested. Carla leaned in, voice back to playful. Put flight attendants were amazing in permanent ink. The captain smiled. Already did. When the crowd thinned and the headlines hadn't found them yet, Maya sat on a curb with a scratchy blanket around her shoulders. She turned her niece's bracelet with her thumb. Breathe. Brief. Act. Simple words, big enough to hold the sky. She texted a photo of the beads and typed, "Your bracelet was my good luck." Her niece replied with a flood of blue heart emojis. Her phone buzzed again. Anna, her mentor. "You okay?" Maya said, and the admission loosened something inside. "You were right," she added. "We don't serve coffee. We serve safety." Anna's laugh was soft and proud. "Tonight, you served leadership." The two instructors passed by once more, handing her a card with nothing flashy on it, just names and a line, "If you ever want to talk to our class about calm." Maya tucked it into her pocket. "Only if I can bring coffee," she said. They chuckled. "Deal." When the bus doors folded open, the passengers filed in, blankets rustling like surf. The captain paused, looked at Maya and Carla, and said it one more time, like a thank you that wouldn't fit in one word. Textbook. If you ever think you're only anything, remember this. One steady voice can turn a cabin full of fear into a line of people moving toward safety. And sometimes, the people who train warriors are the first to recognize a hero in a navy blue blazer.